Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Hey, Are You Still There podcast, episode 98. This is a podcast where we examine life at the intersection of marriage, family, careers, and ministry. I am Mike.
I'm Beth.
Beth, how are you doing?
Irritated with you.
Of course. I have a hot question for you.
What?
Hot take.
What?
As they say on the internet.
What?
Unpopular opinion, hot take, whatever they want to call it. You and I went out for coffee this morning.
Yes.
We sat down in a booth and had our coffee.
Yes.
Did you notice what was going on in the booth behind us?
They were on the same side.
Yes.
Yes.
There was a couple that was sitting on the same side.
They were young. I'm rolling my eyes as I say
What
this.
was your take on that? What do you think? Should couples sit on the same side of a booth if it's just them, or should they sit across from one another?
It feels really weird because didn't we do it one time because we had to or we were waiting for somebody and it just felt weird. I don't like it.
Why?
I don't know because...
You don't like to be that close to me?
No, but I think you need to be across from somebody to have better eye-to-eye contact. You know, like, unless... I don't know, it just...
They say life happens shoulder to shoulder.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's only applies to like talking to teenagers in the car or something, that they're more likely to talk to you when they're not making eye contact. But like, I would prefer to like see you because I feel like so much of communication is like all your body language and stuff, like me visibly rolling my eyes at you at times and stuff. How are you going to see that if I'm beside you?
Well, I think the big problem for you is like this morning, you brought half your office with you. And so you had the entire side. You had laptops, you had iPads, you had multiple phones, you had your coffee, you had your whatever. It was just
my
all
Bible
this stuff,
and my
everything.
highlight. I had all these things just in case.
And I was
needed
just
them.
sitting there with a coffee on the other side. I think if you just came in and would just have coffee with me, we could pull that off.
And let me tell you why we can't do
But
that.
you treat it like it's an office.
Because I talked to you about this before we left, because when you're like, hey, who wants to go with me to get coffee? And I was like, I will. But then I was like, I specifically asked you, is this going to be one of those times where I can't talk to you because your brain hasn't warmed up? Because if it is, I'll bring some stuff to work on. And then you said that I could talk to you, but I couldn't ask any hard questions or talk about anything in the future. I don't know what else there is to talk about. Like, what are we going to talk about? Like,
you asked me
the
impossible
weather?
questions about the future.
Like, I don't know what we would, I mean, it's like plants, the garden. Is that what we'd be talking about? Like, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, so that's why I was like, I brought all that stuff because your brain, you said, doesn't warm up. I don't know how many hours you got to be into the day, but like I wake up and I'm ready to like, you know, solve world hunger.
Listen, I am much like my friend Ross.
Mm-hmm.
We are at our peak between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. That's it.
So you've got that small window.
It takes
to do
that long to
anything
get warmed
important
up,
in life.
and then at 5 we shut down.
Okay.
We start to
It's a steady
land the
decline,
plane
from that time on. Okay, got it.
Prepare for landing. That's what happens at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So you got me from 1 to 5. I am your man.
Oh, okay.
I will solve every
I
world
tend
problem.
to be really busy working and stuff from 1 to 5, so that's why I don't get to see you at your peak most of the time.
Well, then also I usually take a nap around 3.
I was going to say, so this is like a ridiculous statement because there's so many times I walk in and I'm like, wait a minute, what day was it too? When I walked down, something had happened and I walked in and I was like, did you go back to bed? Like you'd gotten up and eaten breakfast and stuff, and then it was like 9:30 or something. And
It was 11, and I'm on sabbatical, Beth.
Gosh, I was just like, what is wrong with you? I thought maybe you had like some type of sleep disorder or something. Like it was just so
You
strange.
exhaust me.
I probably do, but you know, whatever.
You exhaust me.
Yeah.
So last night I had round 3, the Ultimate Comic Challenge.
I didn't get to go. This is the first one I didn't go to.
And it may be the first time I don't progress.
Because I wasn't there.
You weren't there to support me and give me your vote.
And to laugh.
I needed you to laugh.
Yeah.
I needed some laughs last night.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling too good about it.
Yeah.
The stuff I did has gotten lots of laughs before. Lots of laughs. Mm-hmm. But last night, it was a weird crowd. I think I talked on the last episode about how in the second round, it was predominantly not white. You know, there's people, most of them were people of color, and they were younger, single, but I killed. Like they all loved it.
Right. Which you wouldn't think they would
You wouldn't
because
think.
you wouldn't think single people would be able to relate to all that family type humor.
Last night, it was essentially a sold out show
Uh-huh.
at the Idiot Box, if not sold out. There were maybe 2 people of color in the entire place
Uh-huh.
that weren't comedians. It was crazy. The
Yeah.
whitest crowd I've ever seen, right? Even one of the black comics got up and was like, "What's going on, 98% white audience?" He was like, "Y'all feel safe here now?" But Jenny, the owner of the Idiot Box, she got up and was greeting everybody, and she was like, "Hey, this is your first time ever coming?" I bet 90% of the people clapped and cheered. I mean, she was like, "Holy cow." Like, it was an all-white crowd. Most had never been to the Idiot Box. I don't know if they'd ever even been to a comedy club before.
Mm-hmm.
So it just had a weird vibe all night. Like, I can't describe it. It was just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And so my set, I thought I did pretty well. I thought I had a good tight set, but they just weren't laughing at the parts that people normally laugh at.
Mm-hmm.
And I even made a comment to my teacher, Steve, afterwards. He was like, "Hey, great job." I'm like, "I don't know, man." I was like, "I didn't feel great about it." And he was like, "They didn't laugh where you usually get laughs." He was like, "But I looked at the people's faces. They were enjoying it."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "It was an enjoyable set to them."
Can he tell the difference in the enjoyable smile versus that smile that I do when I'm so uncomfortable I want to die because the person's bombing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I'm sure.
I'm
Because
sure
those
he's
people
seen
have
enough.
their teeth together. Like,
Yeah, that's the way I look. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish people could see the demonstration, but when it's really bad and I'm so uncomfortable, yeah.
So I'm not expecting to move on. I'm just not. I don't think I was. First of all, out of the 10 comics, I was by far the least experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the majority of them have been doing this forever, it seems like. And a good chunk of them are trying to make some type of career out of this. Like this is a source of them. Like they travel, they do things. And so.
Which is mind blowing to me because not to be mean, but like, I wonder what their other source of income is and how they make that work with like whatever job they have to support themselves because gosh knows you're not going to make money in this. It doesn't feel like for a long, long time. Not real money that you could do to support, like you're barely going to cover your expenses, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how they do that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But so I was the only clean comic again.
Mm-hmm.
I was the only one that did not cuss the entire time or do any kind of off humor jokes. So I don't know. Maybe that helped me. Maybe that hurt me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of a weird night. It was just kind of a different night. But it was really cool. We had I didn't even know, a loyal listener show up last night. Matt showed up. I mean, I didn't even know he was a fan of the podcast. He told me that he listens to our podcast every week, which I was stunned by. And so he had heard about the show, wanted to come last night. So it was great to have somebody there that was listening. I found out Matt has a twin brother.
You didn't? I knew. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so I'm
How do you know it was really Matt and not his twin?
Well, I could tell. I think this guy, Matt, he's definitely, I can just tell, the most handsome of the two, the smartest of the two, the most successful of the two.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can just tell that. I mean, anybody that's going to show up at a comedy club to support me,
it's definitely
they're elevated.
the best
That's
of the best.
who I draw. Like,
So
I don't
it was
know
like a
what his
biblical
brother
time
is.
if there were twins. You know how the firstborn
Yes.
and you had to tie like a ribbon. Like there's that story where they tie something around one of the ankles to know which baby was really the first one out or whatever.
Matt's the superior. He's a
the
superior
firstborn.
twin.
He's like, oh yeah, okay,
yeah, he's already my favorite twin.
What if you find out though that his twin listens to you and then his twin shows up?
Well, I think his twin would have been there.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think?
Well, I guess.
I mean, his twin, he said, was local. His twin lives in Greensboro.
Oh, so Matt wins because he also made more effort
drove
to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Matt's my favorite twin of that family. So,
yeah.
So anyway, it's cool to have a loyal listener. You have a loyal listener that's been chiming in with you.
Wow. It was so exciting. I don't think I have ever felt as famous as I did when I saw my friend Sue. So Sue and I worked together at my previous job for years and years and years. And I met Sue before we even worked together because I used to be in for Safe Getting Women Attorneys, but also I spoke at something one time and she was there, and then we ended up working together. And she left our job, like, I don't know, I can't remember. It's been like a month or so ago. So she has more time, And so she decided that she was going to listen to our podcast. And by the time...
Why has she not been listening to our podcast until now?
I think she was very busy. She was
too busy to listen to a podcast.
She was running. She was
exactly.
working.
If she's traveling, you got all the time in the world to listen to a podcast.
Well, you know what?
I don't find this as impressive as you do.
She has made up for it with her enthusiasm about our podcast, because she was quoting things that I forgot that we had talked about. Like, and she talked about how professional we sounded. I was like, yes, this is what I'm wanting to hear. And then, like, at one point, like, so we were having a conversation with our friend Kristen, and I said something, I don't know, something came up about jobs or different generations in the workplace. And Sue's like, well, according to the podcast, most people stay 3 years, and in the first year this happens, and the second year this happens. And then there was something else I said, and she said, I learned on the podcast that, and she started quoting all these facts. And I was just like...
Well, a lot of people say we have one of the most informative podcasts out there.
Is that...
That's what happens when you have life at the intersection of marriage, family, careers, and ministry.
One of the most informative podcasts that, like, what was it? Katrina's son said, this podcast is ridiculous, but kind of funny. Yeah. Yes. So I think that's what really drew Sue in, the ridiculousness, but kind of funny. But yeah, so she was quoting it. I felt like I should have been giving out autographs. She was asking us about bringing someone as a guest speaker because she thinks we have that kind of like influence and stuff. But she did tell me something interesting. She said, so her friend's written a book and stuff, that I guess the publisher found some podcasts for her friend to be on, and they charged $700 to have this guest on the podcast. This is what we're doing wrong. We need to start charging people like $500. Will still be a bargain.
You know what?
At that.
I see this a lot. I'm on some podcast forums on the Reddit and also on the Facebook. And this comes up quite a bit. People will ask the question, how much do you charge guests for being on your podcast?
Right.
99% of the responses are extreme backlash.
Right.
They're like, you don't charge people for being on your podcast. Like, they're giving you content. Like, the idea is this is cross promotion.
Yes.
Like, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine. Like,
which is what I've noticed in the author. Like, I read a lot. So, like, I see that, like, there's this, like, group of authors that, like, they're always like, one will have this guest on their podcast, then a few months later it's flip-flopped, and then they're both tagging each other and advertising.
That is everybody, I'm telling you, that is so taboo isn't a word, but it's they just consider it vulgar.
It's a big no-no in the podcast
it's like
world.
You don't charge people to be on your podcast. Like, and if somebody wants you on their podcast, you don't charge. Like, you're not, okay, I'll do it for whatever. It's like, obviously if there's travel involved. Yeah, but a lot of these are, hey, I'm going to be in the same city as you. Let's get together and do a podcast. There's nothing, or they do it over Zoom or phone call. Like, there's some other way now to link up everything. Yeah. And so the idea, I mean, they think it's a scam. Yeah. They really do. They're like, if you pay to be on somebody's podcast, you're getting scammed.
Well, the other thing we talked about was writing books, because I was just talking about like that, and just how, when we talked about this a little bit before, but how these industries are so difficult to organically make a go at it. Even if we were making this podcast our full-time career, like, and really putting that into it, or like you talk about comedy or any of these things. I mean, I don't want to say it's not about talent, because of course I would like to say you have to have some talent, but that's like book writing now. Like, I read some of these books and I am just like, this is trash. It's not original ideas. It's not good writing. It's not, beautiful writing, but like, it's because there's all these things you have to do in the industry. Like, you have to get a big Instagram or Facebook following so that you can have an email list. And then if you can show you have so many people on your email list, then that somehow gives you credibility in the book publishing world. And then they do all these things like, of course, we didn't do this with our books. We just released our books. But people who are doing it like to move up on the New York Times bestseller list, that's why you'll see them for like 3 months before their book's released. They're asking you to pre-order, and they'll entice you by like, you'll get a free T-shirt if you pre-order my book or something like that. But it's so the day the book comes out, all these pre-orders are there, and then they'll be like, I'm number whatever on the New York Times bestseller list. Well, no one's even read the book yet to know if it's any good, as my family would say, any count, but like no one would know if it's any good.
Yeah.
So it's all like this numbers driven crazy thing. And so I just find it, I don't know, it's just such a world, like with the internet and all this stuff. In some ways, like anybody could be a celebrity and make it big any day, just film a YouTube and it takes off, or have a podcast. But at the same time,
They'll do signed copies of books. They're like, hey, if you pre-order, you get a signed copy.
Yes.
Yeah, I've only done that one time.
Uh-huh.
Like there was, and because it's the same price as the book would be.
Right.
They're just trying to entice you to get the
it.
pre-sale. And it don't cost them anything to sign something.
Yes.
And so I did that I have a Jim Gaffigan book.
Right.
Who's a great comedian.
Yeah.
It's a book he had written, and it's autographed by Jim Gaffigan. But that's the only time I've ever pre-ordered a book.
Right.
And that came. Right now, Dusty Slay's doing that. I think if you order his book, I think it may come in signed.
Yeah.
I think if you do something like that, I think he's doing a special.
Which, speaking of books, Sue said she had ordered your books, and I didn't ask her if she had ordered my book. But
it's not Christmas. Why would she order it?
Well, I don't know, to be ready for Christmas.
Listen,
it's Christmas in July coming up. Like lots of people have had Christmas in July, which I fully don't understand.
That's just
but
the retailers,
yeah,
wanting to make more money in the summer when it's a slow month.
Well, I'm just saying. So that was fun though. That was fun talking to Sue and having all these things. The other problem is, she was saying some things, and I was like, yeah, I just show up and I talk. So I literally do not remember things that we talk about, particularly if people are going backwards or if they start at the beginning or people are behind. Sometimes people bring up stuff, and I'm like, how did you know I did that? Or when did I say that?
And that's another topic that's also in the podcast forums is, you start out, your first at least dozen podcasts are rough.
Yeah.
Ours is bad.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a good mic system.
Yeah.
We didn't have a flow or format. You go back and listen, they're horrible. They're terrible. So the question is, do you take those down?
Right.
Do you just delete them and force people to start when you think the podcast got
really
better?
Took off and was good?
Or do you just leave it so people can
organically just see your improvement? Most improved player, most improved podcasters,
Yeah. So I leave ours up because I relate it to it's like Mad Dog. A loyal listener, Mad Dog, says, he said our podcast was like Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing, but sometimes something.
That's ridiculous.
You go back,
funny,
and
we need to put all this on a shirt. Really long.
It's a miracle the show Seinfeld even made it past the first season,
right?
Because that first season is rough.
Yeah, it's not great.
It is not good.
Mm-hmm.
The second season really is okay, but not great. It really did not start getting good till the third season.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, but you want to go back and watch those early seasons occasionally just to see the progression, to see how it went from season one, when most people thought it would be canceled, to now the greatest TV comedy of all time.
And that's what's going to happen with us. When we have the greatest podcast of all time, people will go back and be like, let's see how they got their fresh start.
I mean, there's scripture that backs that up. It says, do not be ashamed of humble beginnings. And so I'm not. I'm not ashamed of our humble beginnings. And it's up there. You can go episode 1, Meet Meth. Remember, I wanted to call our podcast Meth, and you wouldn't let me.
Didn't. Yeah, I think that was a good call. By the way,
we might have more listeners.
Just so you know, Sue and Kristen also talked about you being funny and how funny you are, and that they want to come hear you be funny.
And plus, they like the idea that most of my comedy is making fun of you.
They do like that.
So they want to come hear me make fun of you.
Yes, and because they know me, they can envision.
I needed them there
things.
last night.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to.
I needed more laughter.
Yeah. But I will say about the podcast, the one thing I will say, though, too, I just don't know that most people go back, because I'm thinking about my podcast listening. What usually happens to me is I will be looking for something specific, or somebody will recommend a certain episode of a podcast. I find that, and then I probably listen to everything going forward after that. And if I'm going back, I don't go back to number one and start. I usually then scan like the descriptions and
That's
stuff
exactly what
and
I do.
see what like might be appealing. So I don't know, because I would think if human nature was somebody's like, oh, I must go back to number one and start, I can see why people might be concerned and take down the first podcast, but I just don't think that is human nature. Like, at least not based on you and me. And obviously, we're a good sampling of what humans do.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great science, too. The two of us do that.
I do want to
So-
encourage anyone who's interested in listening, or if Sue has not done this yet, just go ahead and download them all.
Yes.
Go ahead and just I don't care if you listen to them, download them, because then that ups our downloads.
Yes.
So you don't have to listen to them. You either listen or download. And it's funny because
And also, Sue, if you could give us 5 stars. Now, if you don't want to give us like a 5-star, just don't review us. Maybe that's why we don't have more reviews. Maybe people are like, well, Beth said if you're not going to give us 5 stars, don't do it.
I mean, I've never reviewed We're Having a Good Time podcast with Dusty Slay. I've never reviewed the Nate Land, which
Well,
is
that's
now
true. Yeah.
whatever it's called, Public Figures.
Yeah.
And I listen to them every week.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's,
Yeah.
I think people just don't take the time. I mean, Dusty talks about this. The people who don't like you will take the time to write stuff.
Right.
But the people who like you will not.
Like that one time somebody wrote something about our church, like that we didn't return a phone call and we never had evidence the person ever made a phone call or something, you know, like that's the kind of thing that somebody will go and do. And it's kind of, that part's a little disheartening and difficult, but So, but that was exciting having Sue do that. That was very exciting. Yeah.
One last thing on the comedy thing I just thought about, and we'll move on from this discussion. I knew there was a lot of comics that had signed up and competed in the Ultimate Comic Challenge. They came from all over the Southeast. But last night, Jenny said there was 108.
That's crazy.
So 108 comics entered the Ultimate Comic Challenge, and now we're down to 30. So I made the top 30. I mean, I feel like that's pretty good. I'm proud of that.
I feel like we should do something like that. Maybe that needs to be a fundraiser for one of our mission trips. We'll host some kind of comedy thing now that you're breaking into this world and have it and like have all these people come. Our own comedy challenge.
I mean, we're going to allow any comic, clean or unclean?
Well, it's a good point. I don't know. I mean, our church doors tend to be open to anybody, but you're right. That would be okay. If we did the clean comic challenge, we'd have 5 people from across the United States that would come. That would be it because there just aren't that many.
So there's another comic, Jay Stradler, I think is his name. Jay is the guy. You've seen him perform. He wore the big red shirt that said "Vote for Jay."
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
I've actually been on a couple of shows with him. Super nice guy. He was telling me last night, he was like, I'm trying to get a video of 5 clean minutes. He was like, I don't have it. He was like, I'll finish a set. And I'm like, all right, that's 5 clean minutes. Like, I didn't cuss. He's like, I go back and watch it. And I said the F word like 6 times. He's like, I don't even realize it.
That you've done it. Yeah.
And he's like, there's this friend of mine named Blair, I don't know whatever her name is, and he was like, she's a booker, and he was like, she was like, I can book you in like corporate gigs or other stuff. She was like, I need 5, like, they don't want, like, you can't do that.
Because then we'll have, as the employment lawyer, I'd be like, I can just see the hostile work environment claims and discrimination claims and all that would come from, like, some of that. Yeah.
So he was like, I got to get 5 minutes on video so I can give her so she can get me booked. But I was thinking, you haven't been able to do this yet. Let's say you do it. They get the 5 minutes.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Are you going to be able to do that again?
And for 45 minutes or something. Because most of the time, if you get booked for something like that, they're going to want something a little longer. They're not going to want 5. They're not going to pay you to come in. Let's have this 5-minute, like, talk or whatever. Yeah. So that's.
So I did say, I was like, who's this girl's name? Because I'd like to get in touch with her. I told him that. He told me her name. He's like, yeah, just look her up on my Facebook. So I'm going to reach out to her.
I think you should. Yeah.
Hey, I'm a clean comic.
Because I'm ready. I mean, again, I know people may think joking because right now Sue is a lady who lunches. That's what she says she is. But I am ready to be a kept woman. So, and I'm not ashamed to say it, like, I'd be good with it. So I'm ready for your career to take off or for us to get like bougie things. It was funny. Maria is No, it will shock everybody, but she's at Disney with friends, and they're celebrating her birthday. And they went to some place to eat, and because, there's always new stuff opening and stuff. So she texted me and she was like, oh, and it was very bougie. You would like it. And I was like, I do like bougie places. So anyway, that's what I'm ready. I'm ready for you to get some bougie gigs, that kind of thing where I can be treated in a bougie way. That's what I want.
Now, this is not going to be riveting podcast, but I'm going to take a picture of you right now.
No.
On your camera, you're going to delete it.
Oh.
I smile big. Smile big for me.
Uh-huh. Is something in our teeth?
I'm going to see here. This is what I've been looking at the whole time.
Oh, I've got what is it in my teeth?
I don't know, but I've been staring at it the whole time, and I'm like,
it's blueberry.
Oh, yeah. I've been looking at you thinking, has Beth been dipping and she hadn't told me?
It looks like that time when you didn't have a tooth and you went around toothless. It looks like part of my tooth is missing.
Let's see, is it out now? Yes,
it's
is out now. Thank goodness.
I had blueberries.
I'm sorry. I kept
breakfast.
staring at your tooth the whole time. I couldn't even concentrate.
Why did you not tell me? So I've been at Panera talking to your friend Jacob and stuff.
I didn't notice it until just now.
Thanks. I know it's been in there. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Please text him and tell him I don't usually have.
I'm sorry, my wife didn't brush her teeth.
I did brush my teeth.
Then how'd you miss it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
No wonder you get so many cavities. You don't know how to brush your teeth. You walk around with blueberries crammed in the crevices.
Okay, well, anyway, one time, that would have helped your comedy routine if you'd had your toothless act that time you didn't have a front tooth, which, by the way, just as an aside, for dental insurance, they consider replacing a tooth with an implant cosmetic. That's what's wrong with the insurance.
We could have bought a car for what it cost me to fix that tooth.
Yes, we could have, because it was so expensive. And the reason it's not just cosmetic, even though it was your front tooth, is because your teeth will shift. If you don't do that, your teeth will move. So that just makes me furious with dental insurance. Just like I am blind without glasses or contacts. Who out there in the world decided that being able to see was not something that health insurance should cover, that you would have to have either separate vision insurance or pay that out of your own pocket?
You, Stevie, and Ray have been fighting this battle for your whole life.
Just saying, no. But for real, I was thinking about I had this spend account or whatever, and it will show what you've spent your money on, and you can put some pre-tax dollars in it and stuff. And it's like this pie graph, and there's this thin little sliver that is co-pays and prescriptions. And then there's this massive part of the pie chart that's vision, and another big massive part that's dental. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, sorry, I don't know how we got on that, but yeah, I thought
because you had food in your teeth.
I thought you were going to look at my phone because you always pick the content for this podcast. And this morning you were like, what should we talk about? And I was like, oh, we got all kinds of things to talk about. And I was like, oh, we could talk about looking at a condo for Maria. And you're like, oh, that's just riveting stuff. You think the audience is going to be like, oh, Maria looked at a condo. Let's talk about that more. What other nonsense do we talk about on here all the time?
I think food in your teeth is much more riveting than Maria's condo.
The food in my teeth would have been more riveting if people were watching it and seeing it. But
I have become fundamentally opposed to video podcast.
Why?
I just don't, and that's a source of debate also on mine, is a podcast still a podcast when you go to video?
Yeah.
To me, a video podcast, especially when you have more than one person, especially when there's more than one person, is someone's attempt to be a talk show host. Hey, I can have my own talk show and I don't have to worry about being canceled by the network, I can do as much as I want, whenever I want, that kind of thing. It's if you're on video on YouTube, that's fine. Just say you're a video caster. I don't know, but you're not a podcast.
The other thing that I don't like about it is I feel like once they start moving to video, then they start to do things that revolve around video. So, for example, I was listening to a podcast. It's like a wellness podcast. And there was this nutrition person on there, doctor or something, talking about 5 things to do to stay healthy and some exercise tips. But then they were like, now we're going to go into the kitchen and video you making the smoothie. And they're trying to describe as they're making the smoothie, like how much spinach she's putting in the blender and stuff. Well, the people who are looking at it can see that and can see like the products they hold up. So anyway, it does interfere, I think, with the listening experience, because if you know you've got stuff on video and some people are watching it, I think there's a tendency to start doing video-like things that you wouldn't do if you knew no one can see anything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes you just sit in here in your underwear and do it. And,
No, I don't ever
we
sit
wouldn't
in
show
my
that
underwear.
on
I do
video.
not ever do that. So let the listeners.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
You just
no.
walk in here with your nightgown on and
I don't. I have on my, today is a Saturday, by the way. So I've got on my Re3 t-shirt, which is
you
really
look like
cool.
you're going goth. You got
do
black
have
pants, black
I
shirt.
have black leggings and I have my black Re3 t-shirt, which, by the way, at the camp that Josh and them were at, it was a flashback to some of the OG Re3 shirts. The tree that they have with the roots.
They did.
I was like, did they take our logo, or was that one of those like things that anybody could get?
Anybody can do that.
I kind of.
But Danielle was so happy because
Why?
Danielle, that tree shirt we had from the very original
Re3.
13 years ago Re3 shirt that had a tree on it. That is her favorite shirt of all time. And Danielle was so happy to see that she got another tree shirt.
But I wish I would have gotten a tree shirt.
Well, maybe if you'd come and participate, then.
Well,
maybe you
I
could.
had started a new job. It was my second week at a new job. I didn't think that I could be like, oh, I'm sorry, I need to step out for multiple hours a day or take these days off to go be at work camp, so at a camp.
So we broke away for the first time for me, since really like 1998.
That was our first,
I mean, you think about that. It's almost 30 years ago.
Yes.
So we took our first youth group to a group mission trip back in 1998.
Everts, Kentucky, wasn't it?
Yep. And we had a great experience with
Yes.
group. We've been with group ever since. I've been speaking as a camp speaker since I think 2001, maybe 2002. And then for
I
the
don't
last...
remember when I started doing the program team, but I was the program team backup and photographer for years and years.
I mean, I think you were with me out in Montana.
But I
mean,
was
that
a camper. I was an
you?
adult camper
Okay.
in Montana.
Yeah, so I don't know when you were.
I think it was a year or two after that I started the photography instead of actually doing the physical labor.
Right.
Yeah, piece,
So,
being on stuff.
I had nothing but fond memories with
Yeah.
group. But felt like my time at group was coming to an end. And so I bowed out in January of all my group responsibilities. I have a good friend, Chris Dolan, who is a contractor by trade, owns his own business, his own building company, does custom home builds. He volunteers with the organization Love Out Loud, who we've worked with
We've worked with a lot.
A lot. Christmas
Yes.
for the City, Chuck's Bong, Sarah's
Just
Bong,
Yes,
great friends of ours.
Yes.
Love Out Loud.
Yeah.
They do great things in our city and community.
And so many people like at our Hope Center, like Mark and people like that work with Love Out Loud. So we have a lot of connections to Love Out Loud.
They, as Chuck would say, we cross-pollinate.
Ooh, Chuck has some good.
Chuck just says stuff.
Stone
that's just,
soup or whatever.
Stone
Chuck
soup.
has some
Chuck's-
good. I love that, the cross pollination.
I hope he comes back from sabbatical with even more good imagery like that and words.
And I don't think Chuck listens to us, but I know Sarah used to be, I don't know if she still is. I haven't talked to her in a bit, so I need to reach out. A loyal listener. So I hope she goes back and lets Chuck know that we are waiting with bated breath. Just
the
like,
next Chuckism.
yes, like what is he going to say that we were like, ooh, I'm going to hold on to that. So anyway, you're cross-pollinating.
We cross-pollinate a lot
Yes.
with Love Out Loud. Re3 does. And so Chris, this is his 9th year, has put on what he calls the Love Out Loud Student Camp, which is a mission trip right here in Winston-Salem.
Yes.
Right in our backyard. We're in Kernersville, but we're in the same county as Winston-Salem. And so Chris has asked in the past about us coming, but we've been loyal and, to group.
And can I interject one thing too? And I don't mean this to be mean, but like, I was kind of like, why would we want to do that right here in our backyard? Not because I don't love serving our community, but because we run the Hope Center. We have all these things that we already do in our community. So it's not like we're people who aren't involved in our community. And I was kind of concerned that our kids would be like, well, why would I want to go to something kind of like, okay, our Maria didn't necessarily, she's at a great college, but she wasn't thrilled about going to college in the same city she went to high school. Yeah. And even if she's
UNC
not
School
living
of the
here,
Arts is a top 10 film school.
In the nation.
Yes.
In the United States.
But Maria was like, oh, I guess I'll go. But it's 20 minutes away from our house.
Right.
So to her, it doesn't feel exotic enough.
Right. It wasn't like going and living at the beach or in a big city. And so that was my concern initially when I heard about the camp, because I was like, is this really going to appeal to not just the kids at the church, but even my own child, Josh, went, who went to school, well, still goes to school in Winston, has spent his whole life in school in Winston-Salem. So, is this really going to be something that he's going to be excited about?
Yeah, and I think it kind of gets in your mind, too, at least in mine. We could do this camp 51 other weeks out of the year.
Right,
There's any time we can go volunteer with this service or do this. So we've always gone away.
But a spoiler, I stand corrected. So I've changed, this was I will go ahead and foreshadow that those assumptions I can admit when I was wrong about something. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris had to admit he was wrong about Danielle.
Yes. We won't go into detail on that.
But neither one of them listen to podcasts, so it don't matter. But yeah, so we decided this year to team up and partner with Love Out Loud Student Camp. We sent one of our adults, Danielle, went and stayed the whole week with our youth. Laura popped in every night when she got off work. I was there all week long.
I only got to pop in very briefly during my lunch break at one work site, which I'll talk about in a minute.
Tuesday or something.
And then I got to go Friday night to the closing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a blast.
Yeah.
I absolutely had a blast. They invited me this year to do the morning devotions every day. And I did that and loved it. And I think there's, being with Group for as long as I have, Group is the premier youth ministry mission organization in the country, the premier. They've been doing it a long time. They've been doing it almost 50 years. They've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of camps. We've done a bunch of those camps. They've got it. It's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And so I think there's some things I can bring from that experience to the student camp that would help a little bit, tighten some things up and bring some fresh perspective. The group that puts it on, it's about, we'll say 10 adults. They've been putting it on since day one. So for 9 years, this same group of adults have done this camp and they volunteer their time. They don't get paid to do it. I think Chris shuts down his company for a week.
Wow.
And a lot of those folks, all those folks that work for him at that company come and work on this student camp for the week. And so it's pretty cool. But when you do that, I think sometimes you develop some blind spots or you get into routine. So I felt like that's what I was able to add this year.
Because you're the outsider coming in, almost like in my new job. There's been people there forever, and I'm the outsider coming in saying, and not in a bad way, but just, wait a minute, what is happening? What are we doing?
Yeah, why are you doing
it
this?
way? Right, and you're just asking, but just by asking the question, somebody's like, oh, well, we didn't know that wasn't self-explanatory, or we didn't, it makes you think about things. Yeah.
So Chris, early on, when we committed to this camp, invited me to start being part of the leadership team. So I just started coming and sitting in, meeting some of the other adults, kind of learning a little bit of what they were doing. But I was still a complete loss when we got there on Sunday. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. But one of the things I think they used to do, they would do these morning devotionals, but they would have a different person do a devotional every day. And so I just suggested, I'm like, I'll do the morning devos every day because that way there's some continuity, and they have a different speaker every night, which is fine. And I think the way that we worked it out, I think that it was a nice rhythm. I'm curious when we have our debrief what they thought.
Yeah.
But I liked having, even though it was me, having the same person start off every day because there was that continuity. And then at lunch every day, all the students, even though they went to like 5 or 6 different work sites, would all meet back up together for lunch. And every day they had a different theme. Like Monday was housing. Tuesday was education.
There was like health and mental health.
Mental health was yesterday.
Economic mobility.
That was
or
Thursday.
Like that.
And Wednesday was food insecurity.
Yeah.
So they have like the 5 greatest needs of our area. And so they had experts come in and talk to the kids about it and answer questions and things like that. I thought that was phenomenal. And most of them were amazing speakers, like really engaging. I mean, really good stuff. And I was proud of these students. They asked a lot of good questions and it was good. And then at night during the worship time, they had different speakers. Every night there was a different speaker. So that's just the way they did things.
And a full band for the music, which was impressive.
Yeah, Gene and Anna did
that
awesome.
was unexpected. Yeah, that was really impressive.
Yeah, that was really cool. So that's kind of the day, you know, and then the kids work at sites in the mornings and the afternoons. But I loved it. Like our youth loved it. Our youth were like, this is where we want to come back to next year. And so I'm hoping.
And the other thing that was cool about it is that you can make a choice to be like a day camper or to stay. And so for like, Josh is older now. He can even drive himself and he's our more introverted kid. And so for him, he even said he didn't mind getting up early and leaving late. It's not like he's never been away and stayed at camp, but for him, to get to come home and shower and sleep in his own bed, that gives him enough time to kind of like, you know,
decompress and then, get ready for the next day.
And then go back. But then some of our other kids wanted to stay because they loved like being there at night. But also the reason I stand corrected, and I think one of the things, first of all, Josh said he got to see a lot of things that he had not seen before. So as involved and invested as we are in our community, you know, there was stuff he had not seen, organizations he had not worked with. And the other thing is, one of the places, I think it was where he said he was Friday, it was one of the community gardens. He was like, I may see if I can go back and volunteer there. And I think I had underestimated that as well. Like, a student who lives here being able to find something that they love and then continue volunteering there. So I thought that was really neat.
Yeah.
The other thing is the day that I got to visit, so I went to college at Salem College, and when I was in college in the 90s, there was this neighborhood, Happy Hills, that was back right by college. And a lot of people at Happy Hills used to like work at the college and stuff over the years and stuff. But it was a very dangerous area. And we didn't have, back in the 1900s, we didn't have air conditioning in these like dorms, you know, that were older, and you didn't have central air. So you would sleep with your windows open and you might hear gunshots. You might hear stuff. I mean, it was crazy because, again, it was just an unsafe area. And I had not been in that area in a while. And Josh worked on Tuesday. Well, he worked 2 days at a community garden and doing a bunch of stuff. And I went over and got to meet very briefly the two ladies that were there. And they call them shotgun houses. They had two. One is still one of the older ones that they're raising money and working to revitalize. And the other one has been made into like a museum. So you walk in, and when you walk into the house, there's like all this information up there sort of about the Happy Hills community, but also about the house and what they've done with the house. So the garden's outside where the kids were working, but they have like they have a thing about shotgun houses, a legacy of African design and American resilience. And so they talk about how these houses were designed. And then it had like a piano that was my grandma's piano. They had this great sign that showed all the residents of that house and had some pictures. So it showed the people who had actually lived in that shotgun house. And they had the story of Happy Hills, which was really cool. And then they had like a little bedroom with an antique bed made to look like it would look, or stove, like people would have done things. One of the really cool things is they had an education timeline that had historically Black schools, and they have the year that they open and the school listed. And then they have these pins, and you can put the pin in to the school if you went there. And so I wasn't there when this happened, but the lady that was doing it said, you know, like, because my son Josh went to Adkins High School, he was able to put a pin in there because he actually attends one of the schools. And so that was really neat. So and then they had what was called the green stamps in the green book, because back when things were segregated, there was like a green book, and it would tell people like safe places that that you could stop and eat or do things like that. So they had like a sample of that, and they had a book that showed the restaurants and places in Winston-Salem that would have been safe for them to go. So it was like, they had like a 25th anniversary edition of the Green Book that you could look at. It was a guide for vacation and stuff. It was just really, really neat. And it was just really cool. I was super excited to see what they're doing there. And I was super excited for Josh to meet these ladies and just see that work and to see the pride in that community. Another thing Josh got to do, he said it was a little stressful, but he and Danielle worked on a roof, putting shingles on. So, and they take safety seriously. So Micah told me, because I asked about this, but like you said, Chris and some of the other guys had shown them like how to sit on the roof.
And it was cool because I've done roofing, but only at work camps. And I remember early on, it may have been one of the first or second work camps I ever did. So late 90s, the crew I was an adult chaperone with, we did roofing. And then every year after that, you fill out this form with group, like, what is your skill? Like, what have you done? What do you know how to do? And I would mark, I've done roofing. And so I was on roofing sites every year for like 5 years, but I had not roofed since early 2000s. And so to see Josh up there now getting to roof, and group got rid of roofing a long time ago. They was just insurance. They just didn't feel like it was too much of a liability. So it was a little like, wow, they still let kids on roofs and do roofing. And this house was tall. I mean, it was a split level. So there was part of it that was 2 stories, and it was quite a ways off the ground.
Yeah.
And,
it looks scary.
Josh and the other
picture.
students were, putting on that first row of shingles right across the eave, or right across where the gutter system is. And so it was cool. I was glad he got to experience that, and he had a good time doing it.
The other thing, just one super quick proud moment. Well, one thing too that they did that was neat is y'all would go to different churches and stuff to eat. And so I think having different churches host, like feeding the kids and stuff.
Yeah, every day a different church would host for lunch and a different church would host for dinner.
Yeah, so that was cool. And some restaurants donated food, I guess, or something they said. So it truly is like a community like investment, which is one of the things Love Out Loud that we've been very involved in the past Christmas for the city for years. But that was part of what Chuck Spong and Sarah, who we talked about, envisioned was like having this thing where the community's giving and the community comes together. And in a lot of ways, that's what, this camp felt like, these different places being invested and having these kids come. I think the other thing I liked is like, it was this nice little, it was a little smaller than some of the other camps, but not too small. So there was still good energy, but I could see on Friday, I was like, oh, if I'd have been here, I'd have probably been able to get to know every kid here just a little bit, Yeah. And I think it just had their more relaxed vibe to the people who are putting it on, Chris and them. And they did this nice thing too. Every kid gets this little thing, like a silver or gold thing, and you can work up to getting a gold hammer, but they do a thing where you get something each year. So every kid gets at the end their name recognized and stuff. And that would be really hard to do if the camp was too large, but this camp's
because
a good
most of
size.
our group mission trip work camps were 250 kids.
And so
this
can't
camp
do
was
that.
70.
Yeah,
so it's
very manageable. But Josh really enjoyed it. And one of my other favorite things was just at the worship. I call it the softer side of Danielle, and then seeing Josh do it. But there was one kid there that was. A lot of the kids would kind of storm the front during the music and jump and dance and sing. And this one kid was up by himself. And so Danielle was like, oh, that's my best friend. I'm going to go sit with him. And Danielle is not like anybody that you think about having a best friend that they'll go sit with. It was out of character for her. But I call it the softer side of Danielle. So she went and sat with this kid, but then she had stepped out and was talking to one of our adult parents at the back for the very last song. And Josh said, he said, I'm going to go sit with him. And later Josh said, well, I saw him look around and it looked like he was looking for Danielle. He looked sad. And so Josh was like, I'm going to go sit with him or stand with him during this song. So anyway, it was just neat seeing like your kids, because Josh was always the youngest kid at everything. Everything we've ever done, he's been kind of the younger one tagging along with the older brother and sister to youth things and stuff, you know? And so it was just kind of interesting and different for me to see him as like one of the oldest kids, you know, kind of recognizing somebody younger and going and standing with them. So that was just kind of a really sweet moment. But yeah, it was fun. It was different. I'm excited about, I hope I can figure out some ways to help and be involved next year with it. So, yeah, I think it was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved it. I thought we had a good time. And as far as I know, we'll be back again. And looking forward to that.
The last story I was going to tell what you thought, but I'll make it really short. But I've had I'm week 2. I've had 2 weeks on my first job. And the first week, my computer crashed. I won't go through the whole saga of everything that happened with it. But anyway, so that was a little stressful. On Monday, so my office is on our glassed-in back porch, and it's perfect because it allows me, I love to be outside, but obviously I can't be outside because it's 1,000 degrees. And by the way, shout out to all these people out roofing and gardening. When I say, I know I said 1,000 degrees, but truly it was 95 and felt like 100.
Heat index was 100 and something.
Every day. It was brutal heat. And the boys showered outside in makeshift showers. Like this was brutal heat this week. Anyway, but I like my glassed-in porch because I can, you know, every once in a while look over and see a bird or whatever. And it just feels there's lots of light. And so it's just a great place to work. Except somehow Monday, sitting there, video on, sound on, in a meeting, like only 3 of us, so I can't, you know, do much. And I put my arm down and this awful pain, like on the underside of my right arm. A wasp, I guess it was a wasp, had gotten in somehow and landed on me. And when I put my arm down, it stung me. But I was on video and the sound was on. So I know I probably like jumped a little, but I was like, I can't react. I don't know these people. I mean, if it had been my old employer where I knew everybody, I'd have been like, yo, I believe what just happened. And I would have probably been very reactive. But I like just held it together and sat and did the entire rest of the meeting just like nothing had happened. And, you know, it hurt and burned a little bit. And I was like, okay, well, you know, hopefully I'll put some cream on it, wash it off, whatever, and stuff like that.
You act very nonchalant about that right now. You were sending the family chat a panic.
That was the next day.
No, it was that day. You said,
it was the next
I
day.
just got stung by a bee, blah, 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 like going on. And I said, this is what you need to do.
Yes.
And I laid out for you what you need to do.
So anyway, I got off of that, but I did everything and I thought, well, I'm going to survive. It's going to be okay. I went to bed, was itching and stuff some at night, but woke up the next morning. I am not exaggerating when I say from my armpit to below my elbow on the underside of my arm was bright red, hot to touch, like
it was a murder hornet.
It itched. That's what you started saying. I was like, you are not helping the scenario. I cannot describe how badly it itched, and nothing helped. And I took all this medicine and stuff. The only thing that helped was keeping an ice pack on it. And then they're like, you're not supposed to directly have it in contact with your skin. I didn't care. That was the only thing that helped. But anyway, that happened Monday, and it's some better, but I still have some residual stuff. And when I get hot or sweaty, it gets even itchier. But anyway, that was part of my other drama. So I was just like, is anything else going to happen to me in this like first, you know, few weeks of this job? Like,
well, it's about to get hot and sweaty in just a couple of hours.
Yeah, because we're going to an outdoor wedding in July.
Yes. So we have great friends of ours. Mm-hmm. Their daughter's getting married. She asked me to do the wedding, which is great. Very, very honored to do Danielle's wedding, and not the other Danielle we've been talking about.
A different Danielle.
A different, younger Danielle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll do it. Ross asked me this past week, he said, I hope it's inside. I'm like, surely it's inside. Yeah. I'm like, who would get married outdoors in North Carolina in the middle of July? Well, Danielle's getting married outdoors in the middle of July.
Also, is it at 2 o'clock?
At 2 o'clock.
Which is also
Let's just pick
heat.
the hottest time of the day. Fortunately, we're having a cold front today, so it's only going to be 91.
Yes, exactly.
I got there last night for the rehearsal. So my day yesterday was crazy. I was at the work camp until, say, 3 o'clock. came home, had to shower because I was just nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Drove 45 minutes to where this wedding's going to be. Got there, and it's like, what? We're outdoors? Like, she never told me this. And so went to the rehearsal, had a little dinner. I was dripping wet again. I was just like, oh my God. Then I had to drive back 30 minutes to Greensboro to go to the Idiot Box. And so I also don't think I was at my sharpest last night.
Yeah.
Which could have affected the way I perceived things last night too. I was tired. I mean, that was just a lot in one day. But yeah, 2:00 this afternoon, we're going to be standing in the woods, because it's in the woods where it's at. So, but in the heat, just doing a wedding. So, and I asked her, I was like, what do I need to wear? And she's like, well, whatever you want. I'm like, no, we ain't playing that game. Like, what do you want me to wear? She kept saying, whatever you want, whatever you want. I was like, I'll just go ask your mom. So I went and asked the mom, and the mom was like, said the same thing, whatever you want. I was like, just tell. I was like, what is everybody else wearing? She was like, suits. I was like, then okay, then I need to wear a suit. Like, you can't tell me to wear whatever you want, and I show up in khakis and a golf shirt, and everybody else is in suits. So I'm going to be in a suit at 2:00 this afternoon, dying, sweating profusely, I'm sure,
Yes.
at this wedding. So,
Well, one other thing, loyal podcast listeners, if you have furniture or anything laying around that Marie might be able to use for a condo, let me know. Maybe that's another way we get free cool stuff.
maybe, yeah. I mean, we want good stuff. We don't want crap.
I want nice stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Super nice.
Yeah, we don't want your pet stained, like, been in a basement for
yeah,
40 years.
Yeah,
grandma died on it.
Rusted or like falling apart or, yeah.
So Maria and one of her good friends, the condo we went for her to look to rent, it's possible she's probably going to be moving on.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. And out of the house.
I don't agree with that. I'm going to miss her and I don't want her to leave.
Yeah, because you don't go upstairs and see all her junk laying all over the place.
Well, just don't go upstairs and then it won't be like an issue.
Then let's sell our house and buy a ranch.
No, I am saying Maria does have a lot of stuff. So we're going to try the method that we tried when she moved to School of the Arts because she'd moved home from Disney and didn't have to unpack. And so now we have just like storage bins in our garage, upstairs. We have random stuff. And so, it's like we're going to take all that with us to wherever she moves. She's going to look through and anything she doesn't want, unless we have a reason that we have to keep it, like sentimental value or something. But like she was talking about, she has like this bin full of all these plastic dishes or something, like from Target that she had when she was at Disney working there. She may end up getting rid of that if they get better dishes, or maybe she'll keep them there. But they don't need to be in a bin in our garage or upstairs, So we are going to get rid of, hopefully, a lot of stuff.
Hopefully.
I hope. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to end on this story. This was the only, I thought, embarrassing part of condo hunting or apartment hunting was you and Maria got there first. I was coming from work camp, so I got there a little bit later. The morning we took a tour of the place. I walk in and like the owner is looking at your arm. I was like, what is going on? You found out he was a PA.
Yeah.
This is a condo he bought to rent, like investment property.
Yeah.
And you found out he was a PA.
It came up organically.
And you were like, oh, well, I got you. Can you look at my arm? And I'm like, you just met this dude 5 minutes ago. Like, he's going to charge you a copay. Like, this is.
No, I wasn't telling him to diagnose me.
Yes, you were.
No.
You were like, do I need to go to the doctor?
Because I was trying to figure out, do I keep waiting it out or do I go to the doctor? Because this is like, it's getting redder. It was getting bigger. Anyway, it was.
Any loyal listener, when you see Beth out, feel free to ask her legal advice. Just ask her any legal advice you want, and she will help you for free. Because that's what she expects out of others.
Everybody's asking me about child support or wills, and I'm like, I haven't done anything with any of that area since in 2000 I took a class. I mean, it's like I know nothing in that space. But yeah, that's usually the questions I get.
It was so embarrassing.
Sorry to. More embarrassing than Maria saying, is there a swing set? And then going to see it.
Both of you, I was just like, why does this guy even want to rent us this place now?
I don't know either.
I turned around and walked out.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for
Yeah.
today. So this was episode 98. I think 99 can be another travel episode. We
Yes.
can do the Czech Republic.
Yes.
And then 100's got to be big.
Oh,
like
gosh,
100's got to be something.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but
Send your suggestions, listeners. Tell us what you want to know. Do you have questions for us? Do you have deep, burning questions that you want to know from
yeah, maybe that should
Mike
be
and
it.
Beth?
Yeah, if you could ask Mike or Beth, any question at all, what do you want to ask them? And we will answer it on episode 100.
That would be fun. Yeah. Now, do you think anybody's going to do it?
Probably not, but we can throw it out there.
But spread the word. Yes. If you have questions, send them to
Go
us.
to the website.
Yes.
HeyAreYouStillThere.com.
Mhm.
There is a way to text us and email us from that page. Do that. We will get your questions. We will answer the questions,
No matter how
Episode-
ridiculous.
no matter how ridiculous. We are
Because
an
you
open
can
book.
ask me about, like, I have a book from my coworkers that is like the cryptids in all the national parks.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can talk about some Bigfoot stuff or
And I'm all into conspiracies.
the screaming
I can do that.
banshee was one of them. Yeah. I mean, so we can talk about some really
Yeah.
deep
So
stuff.
go to
or-
HeyAreYouStillThere.com. Message
Yes.
us.
And you can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, so the podcast Apple, and
Everything-
Apple,
everywhere.
Spotify,
Everywhere podcasts
our
are, we are.
website. Yes,
You can
we're
even listen to
everywhere.
us on YouTube.
Because we are that professional,
Yes.
right, Sue? Very professional.
We are
That's
very
us.
professional.
Very professional. Mhm.
I was told I'm a very professional comedian. A couple of times people said that.
Really?
Yeah. From the ballpark the other week.
Oh, in what way makes you so
I don't know.
professional?
They just were like, you are very professional. And I was like, well, thank you. Somebody wrote that on Facebook too. They wrote, Mike is a very professional comedian. Like a different
okay.
person. I'm like, all right.
Okay, well, that'll be just like one time our friend Wendy said that I was a trusted speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So now I like to go around and tell people I'm a trusted speaker. Like I can come speak at your church, I can speak about legal things or HR things, whatever you want me, but I'm trusted. You are a professional comedian.
I'm professional, whatever I
We need to
be.
put this all over like our LinkedIn and stuff. Professional comedian.
Professionally trusted.
Trusted speaker. Yes. I mean, you need us and want us.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, go give us your questions. We'll save those for episode 100.
Yes.
Which
Sounds
will be
great.
coming up in 2 weeks or so.
Yep.
All right, Beth. Well, let's go sweat it out at a wedding.
Yep.
So until next time, this is Mike.
And Beth.
And this has been another episode of Hey, Are You Still There?